Kirby and the Forgotten Land Nintendo Switch 2 Edition plus Star-Crossed World is finally here. If that name weren't a mouthful enough, Kirby is back with new mouthful modes and a generous handful of new content in this Switch 2 upgrade to one of the Switch 1's best games. For me, this is the first full-priced Switch 2 upgrade I've bought, not counting the two Zeldas which I got included in my NSO subscription, and Super Mario Party Jamboree which I skipped over. Now, as a $20 enhancement to a game I already own, is it really fair to get performance increases locked behind a paywall? Especially when I already forked over $500 for the new console, and games like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and Super Mario Odyssey offer performance upgrades for free. And is there really enough content here to justify the double dip? And is that new content any good? Those questions and more will be answered in this review. Now, this is not quite a full review, as Kirby and the Forgotten Land launched 3 years ago now, and I can't quite remember everything about the main game, but I do remember that I personally absolutely loved it. This video will be about the new content and how it plays on Switch 2, my experience revisiting Forgotten Land all these years later, and who these upgrades and new content are for and who will find the most value from them. By the end, you'll know if you're one of those people. With that out of the way, let's jump right in. Before we get into the meat of this review, being the gameplay and the performance, I just want to quickly go over the story. Star-Crossed World runs parallel to Forgotten Land's main story. A mysterious meteor falls from the sky, scattering starry creatures for you to collect before whatever is inside that meteor can release its evil upon the world. I don't have much more to say on it, but the cutscenes and new characters are fun without adding a whole lot. And as it runs parallel to the main story, it doesn't really add that much new in terms of world building or lore, but Kirby enthusiasts will find plenty of morsels here to enjoy. Personally, I thought it was a fun little breezy story mode, delightful but not of huge consequence. Don't expect your mind to be blown like in the ending of the main game. So, how about that gameplay? Star-Crossed World adds 12 new courses known as Starry Stages, one boss battle, a new tougher Coliseum Cup, and a bunch of new collectible figures. Now, the Starry Stages are alternate takes of main game courses, taking different routes, showing said course from a different perspective, and adding the sparkly meteor aesthetic over top. These ones are tougher than main game courses, boasting more difficult enemies and mini-bosses, differentiated by their increased size and crystal hats. This is nice, but there is only one brand new enemy, the Galactal. I would have liked a few more new ones, but I'm glad the enemy variety here is still more difficult than that in the main game. As someone who loves challenging games, I am all about this. I love how the more recent Kirby games are no longer just breezy, but offer a spectrum of challenge for players seeking it out. These levels are tougher than any other, and you are basically required to have powered up all the copy abilities before you attempt them. So if we view this as post-game content, then this is absolutely everything we could want. In addition to being challenging, they are immaculately designed and handcrafted like those in the main game. The designers haven't missed a beat, and each course offers delight and surprise throughout. The 3 new mouthful modes, Spring, Gear, and Sign, add new ways to play and are some of the best in the whole game. While I was disappointed that there weren't any new copy abilities added, I think these 3 new mouthful modes were just enough new ways to play to be satisfied with. As for the final boss, I was a little let down that it was just an alternate version of the main game's boss, but it was still challenging and fun nonetheless. As for that new Coliseum Cup, oh boy, that was some challenging stuff. I was getting frustrated, wanting to scream, and spent hours chipping away at it till I finally beat it. If you're a sucker for punishment like me and enjoy brutally hard action games, then you're in for a treat. So basically, the gameplay is more of the same already being something very good, with a bit more challenge than what came before. But what really brings Star-Crossed World to life is the Switch 2's performance capabilities, which I'll get into now. Like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Tears of the Kingdom, and Super Mario Odyssey, playing Kirby and the Forgotten Land on Switch 2 compared to Switch 1 is like seeing color for the first time. The stable frame rate and higher resolution makes Forgotten Land into a next-gen game, and the faster loading times between areas makes for a much more engaging experience. I am truly envious of those that never played Forgotten Land back in 2022 and get to play it now for the first time. If this were a brand new game on Switch 2, Forgotten Land would already be in the conversation for Game of the Year, alongside Donkey Kong Bonanza and Expedition 33. The enhanced performance makes the gameplay that much smoother, faster, more enjoyable, and even more pleasant to play. I really can't stress how much of a big difference it makes. And this is where the new Star-Crossed World content comes into the conversation. If it weren't obvious from these trailers, all of the new levels feature these sparkly, shimmering blue crystal textures. While I'm far from a game development expert, it's clear that textures of this complexity would not have been possible on Switch 1. Therefore, these new levels do take the the aesthetics and beauty of Forgotten Land to the next level, and you can kind of sense that these are more complex assets pasted over a less complex game. As the new content is more beautiful and more sophisticated than the original content, those who possess as much attention to detail as me will note this sharp contrast. It's not a big deal, but it certainly separates the old content from the new. You can clearly tell that it was added on top of an older game, not quite as a lateral extension of the original game. But as a showcase of what the Switch 2 can do, it works incredibly well, and I can't wait to see a brand new 3D Kirby game built from the ground up for Switch 2. I'm sure HAL Labs already has something in development. And now I'd like to summarize my experience of playing through the Switch 2 edition and Star-Crossed World. For some reason, I thought I had 100%ed Forgotten Land back in the day, but upon booting up my old save file, I saw its completion at 90%. I hadn't done a whole bunch of the missions or the final arena challenge, and certainly hadn't collected anywhere near the total number of figures. So after clearing the Star-Crossed World story in only a few hours, I decided it was high time to 100% both the original game and the new content. And over the course of the weekend, I did just that. While it has been 3 years since playing Forgotten Land, it did feel like a whole new game, and playing OG Forgotten Land with the upgraded performance only enhanced my deep appreciation for it. These levels are just perfect, man, and seeking out every secret really allowed the creative depths of this development team to truly shine. And like I mentioned earlier, the smoother performance made it more enjoyable, as clearing every mission, gathering up collectibles, and attempting the arena again and again involved a lot of loading screens. Being able to go in and out of levels and menus almost instantaneously makes for a much more engaging and efficient experience. Basically, I spent the whole weekend playing Forgotten Land, and rediscovering what makes this game so special in a more satisfying way is already one of my gaming highlights of 2025. So let's wrap this all up. Is this upgrade worth $20 for existing Forgotten Land owners? Absolutely. While it is a shame that the performance upgrade is locked behind the upgrade pack paywall, there is just enough new content here to make the purchase worthwhile. While I would have liked a bit more content for the price, what is here is extremely fun, challenging, beautifully and immaculately designed, and a good indication of what we can expect in the future for the next 3D Kirby. Is the full-priced Switch 2 edition worth it? Well, these Switch 2 games are retailing at high price points around the world, so it is a tough sell buying a 3-year-old game at full price, albeit with a little extra content. If you haven't played it before, it does play like a brand new Switch 2 game, and I am truly envious of those who haven't already played it and can afford it like this. The Switch 2 version is the definitive way to play Forgotten Land, so if you are still a Switch 1 user and curious about it, I'd suggest holding off until you get a Switch 2. If you are a Switch 2 owner and have never played Forgotten Land, but don't want to pay full price for it, I suggest getting a used copy of Forgotten Land for Switch 1, then downloading the upgrade pack for $20. This is the best way to play what is almost a brand new game for a lower price. So to wrap this all up, whichever way you do purchase Kirby and the Forgotten Land Nintendo Switch 2 edition plus Star-Crossed World, you are getting an excellent game. The Switch 2 edition turns a good Switch 1 game into an essential Switch 2 game. As the performance upgrades make a monumental difference, Kirby and the Forgotten Land now deserves to be considered on the same level as Super Mario Odyssey, Astrobot, and Donkey Kong Bonanza as a masterpiece of modern platforming. If you've never played Forgotten Land, now is the perfect time, and if you already have, the Switch 2 edition will make you fall in love with it all over again and enhance your appreciation of it. So thanks for watching till the end. Have you played Forgotten Land? Will you upgrade to the Switch 2 edition, or have you already? Let me know your thoughts down below and I'll reply to you. So thanks for watching, have a good one, and I'll see you next time.